Welcome back my YouTube channel Mystery Coins TV, the channel where rare coins, hidden history, and unbelievable values come together in the most fascinating way possible. Today, we're diving into one of the most mysterious coins collectors can't stop talking about, this coin 1965 South Africa 2-cent coin. Now at first glance, this tiny bronze coin may not look special. In fact, millions of people may have carried one in their pockets decades ago without thinking twice. But what if I told you that one version of this coin has been connected to rumors of values reaching an astonishing $9 million? Sounds impossible, right? Well, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll discover the surprising history behind this South African coin, the rare details collectors hunt for, and the truth about why some people believe this tiny piece of metal could change someone's life forever. And trust me, one hidden detail makes all the difference. Back in 1965, South Africa was going through an important economic era. The country had recently adopted the decimal currency system in 1961, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence with rand and cents. That meant new coins were being produced for everyday circulation, including the humble 2-cent coin. The 1965 2-cent was struck mainly in bronze and featured a simple but elegant design. On one side, you'd find the South African coat of arms along with the year 1965. On the other side, the denomination 2 cents appeared with beautiful styling that reflected the country's identity during that period. At the time, nobody imagined this small coin would one day become the center of mystery and speculation. But here's where things become truly interesting. Not every 1965 2-cent coin is valuable. In fact, most are only worth a few cents today. However, collectors began noticing that certain rare examples had unusual characteristics. Some reportedly showed minting errors, strange metal compositions, or incredibly limited production details that made them stand out from ordinary circulation coins. And one specific rumor changed everything. According to stories passed through collector communities, an extremely rare variation of the 1965 South Africa 2-center may have been accidentally struck under experimental conditions. Some believe only a handful were ever produced before the mistake was discovered. That's the version tied to the jaw-dropping $9 million legend. Now before you rush to check every old coin jar in your house, there's something important you need to know. Most experts agree that no publicly verified sale of a 1965 South Africa 2-center has officially reached $9 million. However, in the world of rare coins, values can explode when rarity, historical significance, condition, and collector demand collide. And that's exactly why these coins continue attracting attention worldwide. Here's the first key detail collectors look for: mint errors. A mint error can happen during production when the coin is struck incorrectly. This might include double stamping, off-center designs, missing details, or wrong metal planchets. Even tiny mistakes can dramatically increase a coin's value. Imagine holding a coin that was never supposed to exist. That possibility alone fuels excitement in the collector market. But wait, because the second clue is even more fascinating. Condition matters more than almost anything else. A regular 1965 2-cent coin in worn condition might be nearly worthless. But if a rare version survives an uncirculated or mint state condition, its value could rise dramatically. Collectors pay huge amounts for coins that still retain sharp details, original color, and almost no scratches. And here's the mini teaser you don't want to miss. Some collectors believe a few untouched examples may still be hidden in private collections, forgotten drawers, or inherited boxes of old currency. Which means someone, somewhere, could unknowingly own a fortune. Now let's talk about the historical significance behind this coin, because that's another reason it fascinates collectors. The 1960s marked a period of major transformation in South Africa's economy and identity. Coins from this era became symbols of a changing nation. As years passed, many coins disappeared from circulation, were damaged, or melted down, making surviving high-quality examples increasingly difficult to find. That scarcity created demand, and demand creates legends. Over time, stories online began exaggerating the coin's value, with headlines claiming unbelievable prices. Some reports mixed verified auction results with rumors, creating the myth of the $9 million 2-cent coin. But even if the number itself remains unconfirmed, one thing is absolutely true. Rare error coins and historic South African pieces can still sell for thousands, sometimes even far more, depending on their uniqueness and condition. So the real treasure may not just be the money. It's the mystery. It's the thrill of discovery. It's the idea that an ordinary-looking coin could carry extraordinary history. And that's exactly why coin collecting continues to capture imaginations across generations. Before you leave, take a close look at any old South African coins you may have tucked away. Check the date. Look for unusual markings. Examine the edges and design carefully. Because in the world of rare coins, tiny details can lead to massive surprises. And who knows? The next incredible discovery might already be sitting in someone's pocket right now. Thanks for watching Mystery Coins TV. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more hidden coin treasures, rare collectibles, and unbelievable value discoveries from around the world. This coin 1968 1-cent Swart coin. This particular coin may seem like just a regular piece of copper to the untrained eye, but for coin collectors and historians, it represents a story layered in history, politics, rarity, and hidden value. As we journey through its backstory, you'll see why collectors around the world are clamoring for this seemingly modest coin. South Africa's 1-cent coins were minted during a complex period in the country's history. In 1968, the country was in the midst of apartheid, a deeply divisive era that also saw the country isolate itself from many international communities. Coinage from this time often carried subtle symbols and meanings that reflected the social and political context of the day. The 1968 1-cent coin features the familiar portrait of Jan van Riebeeck on the obverse side, a Dutch colonial administrator considered one of the founders of Cape Town. This portrait was standard on many South African coins during this period, symbolizing European influence on the region. However, the version of the coin we are exploring today, the so-called Swart coin, has an unusual twist. In Afrikaans, Swart translates to black, and it is believed this coin got its nickname due to either a minting variation or a controversial connection to political symbolism. The exact origin of the term Swart in this context remains a topic of debate among experts. Some numismatists argue that the Swart variant has a slightly different composition or shade due to either an experimental planchet or a limited test run. Others believe it may have been the result of oxidation or a chemical reaction in certain batches of coins that were not widely circulated. Regardless, the term Swart has stuck with this specific variety. What makes this coin even more mysterious is that only a handful of these Swart coins have been verified. While millions of 1-cent coins were minted in 1968, this Swart variant appears in incredibly low numbers, making it one of the rarest coins of South African numismatic history. Some collectors claim fewer than 10 authentic examples have been documented globally. Adding to the rarity, there are certain distinguishing markers on these coins that experts look for. These may include slight differences in coloration, strike depth, edge finishing, and weight. It takes a trained eye, and sometimes lab equipment, to confirm the authenticity of a true 1968 Swart 1-cent coin. This extreme scarcity has created a massive surge in interest over the years. As more coin enthusiasts and investors search for hidden gems in their collections, the 1968 Swart coin continues to rise in both fame and value. Some were found in old family collections, tucked away for decades without their owners realizing what they had. Now let's talk about value. A verified, authentic 1968 Swart South Africa 1-cent coin has fetched astronomical figures at private auctions and numismatic expos. Most recently, one specimen in pristine, uncirculated condition was valued at over $2 million. Yes, you heard that right. A coin once worth just a single cent has become a multi-million-dollar treasure. This price isn't just hype. It's the result of true rarity, historical context, and the growing global interest in rare coin collecting. The value could continue to increase as more collectors and institutions compete to obtain one of the few remaining pieces in existence. How can you tell if you might have one? If you're lucky enough to come across a 1968 South African 1 cent coin, it's worth having it professionally evaluated. Look for unusual toning, slightly darker coloration, and any irregularities in texture or edge. But remember, even slight differences must be verified by an expert for the coin to be considered part of the rare Swart batch. For those looking to invest in rare coins, this coin 1 cent 1968 Swart South Africa coin history.